Alrighty, so I'm gonna get going on installing the water pump today. So I've got this SureFlow one. It's the 4008 model. I've had it in my last couple of vans and it's worked really well. Yeah, it's got good pressure and everything. So I'm gonna install that today. And I also bought the strainer. Figure it's just like a good thing to have. And then you can empty that every so often. Alright, so I've just opened this up and there's a little bit of instructions here and a few things I wanted to mention. So first of all, it recommends using a flexible piping to go to the pump because it is going to have a bit of shaking. So I've got like braided vinyl tubing. It also says to have a minimum 1/2 inch inner diameter. So yeah, about the flexible tubing, just make sure you don't have PEX because it specifically says don't use plastic or rigid piping. So that's pretty important. Fun fact, it doesn't need an accumulator tank. So last year I had bought the pump and the accumulator tank, read the instructions and found I actually didn't need it, so don't waste your money there. Alright, so I'm going to be doing hot and cold water. So this is my first time doing it. It might be a little bit more complicated, but my general idea is that I'm going to have my water tank and I'm going to have vinyl flexible tubing coming down into my water pump, which I'm going to have here. Water is going to exit my water pump and it's actually going to tee off. So I'm going to have part of it going into my hot water heater right here, my Girard, and the other part is actually going to go directly to my tap. So I'm going to have flexible tubing all the way to my taps. I like the vinyl tubing, it's flexible and I like that it can vibrate in the van, I guess. And so I'm going to have the vinyl for the cold. Hot water needs the PEX, so I bought PEX, and from the hot water heater I'll have PEX going back to my sink. Alright, ouch. Alright, so I'm just going to start by installing this, securing it onto the wall here. So it can be mounted any way, but be mindful of the directional of flow, so it's going to have an air on it. Just make sure you keep that in mind. Strainer needs to go before the pump, and it also has that arrow. Looks good? Awesome. Comes with a couple barbs. One goes after the pump and one goes before the strainer. It's gonna barb onto the vinyl. Oh, I just remembered another important thing that I read in the manual. It says not to use Teflon tape because it can actually act as a lubricant and cause it to untighten, crack, and over tighten, stuff like that. So no Teflon tape. I know you want to. Alright, so I've just finished up the last of the cold water line to my water heater, so I can show you what I've done so far. So I've got my water pump. I've got the T here because some of the water is going to my water heater and the rest of it is going to go straight to my tap. But I basically have a 1/2 inch inner diameter barbed piece, so that it's got the 3 ends there. It attaches directly onto the barb on the pump. I've used hose clamps everywhere. I also did a ball valve here so that I can, in the winter time, just close off the water to my water heater. So I've got 1/2 inch ball valve. I've got another 1/2 inch barbed piece. This is the female end of the ball valve. It's got the male end, so it looks opposite of this. So it's actually got the threading on it. Here you can see a little bit of that to the barb, so that's another 1/2 inch. Same here. And then I needed an elbow to fit into my cold just so that it didn't stick out too far because I am going to have a wall here. And now I'm just about to start the PEX, and it's my first time using PEX. So we're just starting out with this piece. That was the female adapter to barbed piece. And I've just cut a little bit of PEX here. And then the PEX doesn't bend, so you have to do like all the joints with fittings. So what I'm going to come out here and then I'm going to start to go up back, and it's going to line my bed and go all the way to my tap. But I'm also going to have it going to my outdoor shower, so I am going to get my PEX T, so that I'll be able to go to my outdoor shower and then I'll be able to go to my sink. So to cut, I've just got these PEX cutters and they're really simple. You basically just cut right through, nice and clean. I bought a kit with a crimping tool and that cutting tool, so it's got all these little crimping bits. Slide it on for now. I'm not going to crimp it just yet because I'm not exactly sure of all my system yet. So I'm just going to slide both on in case they are good to crimp. The opening has to fit onto this part here. It's kind of hard to start, but basically just start squeezing it together. Once it starts, then it's kind of, you can let go of it for a second and readjust. So you're gonna keep squeezing until it unlocks to come off. And there's your joint. So I bought this sink from Amazon, a company called Yutong. So I've got just a big stainless steel one here and decided to go with the grid this year. So we'll see how that goes. So luckily my sink came with a template. So I'm just picking out where I want it to be on my countertop. I've got French doors that are going to be here, so ideally you'd want it centered. However, I was an idiot and installed this directly behind it. So I think I'm going to cheat a little bit and just have it a little bit off to the side. Still should look pretty nice, but it'll just at least, the faucet should be a little bit offset to the outlet and the light there. So now that I've picked my spot, I'm pretty much ready to cut my hole in my countertop. I can't actually remember with the jigsaw if the good side is up or down. Sometimes with your cuts, they can be a bit jagged on one of the sides. I'm just gonna test on a piece of wood what that is because I'm not a comforter and I don't know. So this is like a clean blade for jigsaw, and I can see the top of mine is rough and the bottom is really nice. I'm probably gonna actually take my countertop out of my van, flip it over to cut my hole. So since I'm gonna have to turn over my countertop to make the cut, I'm actually just gonna start by drilling 4 pilot holes in the corners, and then I'll use a ruler just to trace that line and then make the cut with the jigsaw.
Back that way.
So you can see on this side it's all pretty hack, and on this side it's nice and clean, so it's good that I turned it over, which I haven't done in the past. Sweet, so now that I've got this cut, I'm pretty much ready to install this back into our van. So James reminded me before I actually put it in, I'm just gonna attach this end piece because it's not solid wood, it's actually just I actually forget what they call it, but anyway, so I'm pretty sure this is just a peel and stick. Next I'm going to be putting in the faucets. So I've got, again from Amazon, just a black faucet. It's really sleek looking. And then I've got this little soap dispenser that I thought was really cute to go with it. So I'm just going to figure out next where I want it to sit. So this nut, this big gold piece, is what's going to be sliding in the hole. So I'm actually going to cut a hole for just slightly bigger than this so that it will be able to slide through. Sweet. So that one looks like it fits just on top. The screw cap does have a few millimeters on the side, so you have that much grace. So you can see that there is a few millimeters around the side of that, so this should be sweet. First hole made. Let's see if my nut is going to fit through, and it does. Perfect. Alright, so next hole for the soap dispenser, I'm just gonna take this part off, and then same thing, I'm just gonna measure or get a hole saw that's gonna fit around this one. It's a bit smaller. So I found one that fits right over the hole, and I can just double check that it's not too big by putting it against here, and there's lots of room on the outside, at least like 7 millimeters, so it should be sweet. Got both these guys in. I was just about to start hooking up my hot and cold when I realized, well actually when James told me, that we actually need to cut the hole for the propane stovetop first, and then I can actually install everything. So a lot going on today.
Looks good though.
So the Ramblewood comes with a cutout, so I just started by placing it, just choosing where I want it to be. I don't have a edge to my kitchen here, so I have to be conscious of it being not too close to that seat. Ideally I would have wanted it centered in front of this drawer, but with this in mind, I just chose to have it a little bit off-centered. So I've just made my first hole, and I'm gonna drill 3 more, and then I'm gonna take it outside and then cut the hole out. Alright, sweet. So now I've got the 4 pilot holes drilled, so I kind of know my dimensions, and I'm gonna retrace my spot. Alright, so now I'm ready to cut it with my jigsaw. I'll do 1 more hole with my bigger drill bit so that my jigsaw blade can start somewhere. Alright. There we go. Now I'm just going to tidy up and then see if it fits the hole. Alright.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Those are some nice holes. What do you think? Alright. So, I'm just going to place it in. And then I'll be able to secure it from the bottom. But for now, I'm going to put the faucet and soap dispenser back in. And I just realized I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to get these guys in my faucet before I stick it in there. Otherwise I'm going to have to crawl underneath and do it. So I'm going to do that first. Alright, so I've just screwed in my cold and hot hoses. So I literally just twisted them inside. Make sure your cold is on the right and your hot is on the left. Yeah, so I'm basically just fishing them both through. And then I'm going to screw the nut into the top. I still have the black O-ring around the perimeter from before, so now I'm going to sneak this all through my hole in the countertop. I've got the sink all installed and I'm going to start working on the plumbing now. So first thing, I'm just looking through my box. We did our best to buy everything ahead of time. I've got this 1/2 to 3/8 adapter, so that's gonna adapt to my hot water hose here. So I just screwed on this first PEX piece, the adapter, and I just used some sealant as well. I used this yellow stuff. I think white's probably better for water, but yellow's okay as well. Normally this is used for gas. So I gave that a few swirls and then tightened that up with a wrench. So for my cold water side, I've got this adapter. So it's a 3/8 outer diameter and a 1/2. Yeah, I don't really know much about this lingo, but I know that it works. Alright, so I've just attached the first adapter, the 3/8 to 1/2. Now I've got this barb piece that I need to attach. Apparently with plastic you want to use a liquid sealant rather than the tape. So I've got that here and I'm gonna let it go. Alright, so my whole water system is complete now. So here's my kitchen, cold and then hot. Looking pretty spiffy. Just like a house, I think. Alright, so just to review how I got my hot water to my tap and also to my shower. Actually, let me show you. This is what this space looks like all finished now. But we've got these little doors here so you can still access everything. You can still kind of peek into what I did here. I've got my main hose coming out of my water tank. So that goes straight into my SureFlow 12 volt pump. I've got my first tee. This one goes straight back to the taps. The other part leads to a ball valve before it goes into my Gerard. So it's going directly into the cold water side. So that's the in. The other thing that I had actually forgotten was that I still needed cold water to my shower. So I'd actually forgotten that when I had set up the system initially. So this was a late addition. Otherwise, it goes in cold and then it comes out hot here. You can see that. And this is just a 1/2-inch barb adapter as well. Tees off here. So this is the hot water line to my shower. And then the other line goes directly to our taps at the front of the van. This is the extra ball valve. Without having this here, water was, even though this was shut off, which meant it shouldn't have gone through any of my Gerard or any of these other systems, water was still coming back out this way and coming out here. So I think it had something to do with the taps, but I've just added this in, so if I want to just completely winterize it, I'll turn this ball valve, I'll turn that ball valve, and that's that. Other than that, I guess that's it.